You are listening to Castles and Cryptids, where the castles are haunted and the cryptids are cryptic as fuck. And I'm Alana.
I'm Kelsey.
And we're hoping we sound very crisp in your ears and not laggy at all.
Yeah.
Nobody likes audio issues.
No, hopefully there aren't any.
I was telling Kelsey I've had like technical difficulties all week, and then that's my superpower. So, not trying to jinx it. I was just saying.
Yeah, it happens.
Ugh,
Hopefully my
definitely.
laptop does better. I helped my
Yeah.
dad move my Wi-Fi, I guess, router or box.
Right.
So it's
Okay.
more like centralized in my house, in my living room, as opposed to on the exterior wall on the floor behind my couch, where stupid Shaw decided to
Weird.
put it, because that's where the box, like the cable came up before, because that's the TV like used to be there. And I have my TV on the
Okay.
opposite wall and my couch against that wall. So
Right.
came in. I wasn't home. My old roommate was. So they refused to drill a new hole through the hardwood floor because it's from the 50s. They're like, we're not touching that, so we can't move your cable. We have to install it there.
Okay.
So for 8 years,
Yeah.
I've had this stupid friggin' Wi-Fi box on the floor behind the couch. Very
So did
annoyingly.
you have to drill a hole then?
My dad ended up drilling a hole basically through the baseboard, kind of angled
Ah,
down, so that it bypassed it, which I don't care about. Like, not a
yeah,
hole in the wall. Yeah. So it didn't mess up the
exactly.
floor at all. So it
Oh, that's
worked.
good.
Yeah, so now it's on my TV stand. If I need to do stuff with it, it's on the TV stand. I'm not pulling the couch out and trying to crawl behind the couch to do stuff.
Yeah, that's good. That's a very spooky
Yeah.
looking cup you got there. It's got
Yeah.
some pictures on it.
Yeah, it's from my work. It's hard to see with the little sleeve, but it gets really hot. But it's like, oh,
I saw, okay, yeah, I saw skulls
spooky.
and now I see snakes and stuff
Yeah.
too. Okay.
It's cute.
Nice.
Yeah. We have a bunch of different
Nice.
Halloween themed ones.
I was drinking out of my plastic Halloween goblet earlier, but it's
Yeah.
it's very light and prone to tipping over, so I just thought
Yeah.
I better switch it up to like a stemless type of wine glass.
Yeah, I'm drinking hot chocolate because it was freezing cold earlier.
Ooh. I mean,
Oh,
it's cold. It was chilly today compared to other, like we've been
yeah.
having above average weather for the
Yes.
season
Like 20
where it's like,
degrees the other day and rain
yeah,
in
it's basically like a
October.
second summer. Yeah.
Hello, Gordo. Move my
The only
laptop
time
back
I've been
further.
really cold was when we were doing we did the something called Symphony Under the Stars, where like it was part of the Edmonton Symphony Orchestra and they were playing, but it was
Yeah.
outside at night, and then it was like right by the little lake, so it was like it was chilly. Yeah, we were like everyone had like blankets and yeah, hot chocolate or mulled wine or oh, that
Fun.
reminds me. Speaking of wine, we bottled the red wine, the
Oh,
raspberry exotic fruit wine.
exotic fruit wine.
It's
Hey,
actually
lovely, man.
not terrible tasting. It's
Uh,
very dark looking,
uh,
but it's not awful, but it's not also not very strong yet.
yeah,
So,
is it supposed to get stronger as it ages, I think?
well, you'd assume so, but it also said that fruit wines are meant to be drunk rather young or whatever they call it with the wine. So I was like, well, now you're just confusing me.
That could
So I
mean
don't
like
think
a
there's,
couple years. So, I feel
I
like.
don't know. They just said that it would maybe lose its fruit flavor. So there's tons of it. There's no way I'm going through it that quickly. And I don't really like
Jesus.
red wine as much.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so we tried some with supper the other day. It was like, okay, like this is palatable.
You could always
So,
do like cooking wine and stuff.
yes,
You make
yeah. We ended up
yeah.
bottling it after we had made a stew one day, because just between making the stew and everything, it was like, we'll bottle it later. But then, yeah, it's like you can use it for all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I do have some mulling wine spices that I could try putting it in,
Fun.
December. Yeah. So
Cool.
what was new with you this week? You got feeling a little better. That's
Yeah,
good.
I'm a lot better. Saw a doctor, got antibiotics and everything. So
Yay.
Gordo's just
That's
being
good.
very distracting and hilarious right now. Sorry. He's like he has a foot out and he's like leaning his back against my laptop and like licking its paw, and I'm like, if you lean further back, you're gonna like slide my laptop across the table. Uh,
But he's always like by the laptop. He's never in your lap. Yeah, he's got to be in the thick of
no,
things.
I think it's because I'm sitting only a few inches away from the edge of the desk, so he
Mm-hmm.
can't get at it, and there isn't enough room for him to get between my lap and the desk either, like underneath
Yeah.
it. So I don't even think he tries. Uh, but cats like being near you. So do
Oh
dogs.
yeah.
So when I'm
Oh
recording, a
yeah,
lot of
mine will
times
sit right
he's
on your foot. Sorry.
yeah, a lot of times he's just right beside me. I like it when he falls asleep like that because it's very non-disruptive.
Yeah. He's not like kicking things when they do their like straight leg licking.
Yeah. Yes. Or the video I sent you of him like has his foot in the air and he's licking it, and then he decided to sniff and like try and bite the
Yeah.
mic because it was right by his leg, and I was like, Gordo, oh my god.
You little dummy. No, my dog slipped a little bit into the the corner of the hot tub today because he kept walking. But sorry, just choked on air. He was walking between the side of it, like in just where it's
Nice.
a very narrow ledge between it and the side of the
Yeah.
deck, and then we always have the cover up there. And so he was walking back and forth, and my mom was like, "What are you doing?" And then he tried to like turn and do a complete turn there, but then he was like, "You don't have enough room." And then he's like, "What do you want?" And he like goes back towards her,
Oh.
and then his like front feet slipped in, and I was like sitting by him, and I was like trying to like keep him from falling in, but it was just, there's a little shallow ledge, so he didn't go
Yeah.
in much past
Oh.
his little paws, but I was
Oh
like, "What
my
are you
god.
doing?"
So
He
funny.
likes to get, well, you know him. He gets right up there when you're in it, and then he like slicks
Yeah.
your face and like tries to lick
Yeah.
your face, and
He was doing that to me when I was in there.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think I have a picture of him doing that to you.
I think so. Yeah.
Ugh. He tries to sniff people's mouths. He always wants to know what you've been eating. Yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
thing. Tell us what your weird animals do, people. We want to know.
Yes.
We want to know what's wrong with your dog or your cat.
While you're trying to remote work from home or do something, what shenanigans are they doing in the background that you have to just ignore and pretend aren't happening?
Yeah. There is a subreddit though. It's called "What's Wrong with Your Dog," and it's people when they post their dog doing weird dog things. It's very
Nice.
entertaining. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, welcome to episode 78.
Yes.
Woohoo! 78. Feeling great. It's our last October episode. No. Yes, it is.
Yeah, the
October's going by
last
so fast.
yeah, last regular one. It's crazy. This whole
Yeah.
year just flew right by. It's gonna be
Oh,
November
totally.
soon, and it's
That's
Christmas around the
insane.
corner. Oh,
Spooky season. You can't go away. I've barely
right?
been watching any horror movies or anything. So, gonna have to get
Oh,
on
I've
that.
been watching a bunch, and I'm watching the Midnight Club on Netflix right now. Ooh, pretty
Is it
good.
the one Stephen King? No.
No, this is from Mike. Oh, I can't remember his name. He's the one that did The Haunting of Hill House and then The Haunting
Oh,
of Bly
okay.
Manor.
Oh yeah, he's
Uh,
always on the horror movie TV series we're watching where they
yeah.
like go over the best horror movies and stuff.
Yeah, this is a show he
Okay.
did. So every night, like these kids and basically teenagers in a hospice care. So, like, they know they're gonna die. They have like this pact where the first one of them that dies is gonna do everything that they can to like give them a sign
Oh,
uh
nice.
like that's very specific to them to be like, yes, like this is me, and like ghosts
Yeah,
are
I'm
real kind of thing.
here.
uh
Yeah.
so
That's
that's part of
cool.
it, and then the other part is every night at midnight all the kids sneak out of their rooms and they go into the library that's like down in the creepy kind of basement, and they share like spooky ghost stories that they've written. uh
Oh.
and they do it every night, and it's been like a tradition at the hospice. They just figured out since
Wow.
the hospice opened in like the 1960s, so it's been going for like 30 years, this midnight club.
It's
Yeah.
definitely a little darker than the Breakfast Club.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's
But I
been pretty
like it.
good. I like the
Yeah.
characters, and each episode they have one of the kids like shares one of their stories, and yeah,
I could see The Haunting of Hill House was so good.
I
It
really
wasn't
like
like
that one. The
yeah.
Bly Manor one. Yeah, I mean, it was. I still enjoyed it. It wasn't as good.
Yeah, they had the bent neck lady on. We were watching
Yeah.
100 Best Horror Movie Moments or something the other day.
Ooh, yeah. That was a big
Yeah, it might be
one.
on Netflix or something. Yeah, it was cool to hear him talk about how he came up with it, or he was showing like something
Oh,
where he got inspired by another movie, where this person sees like their doppelganger and he's like, oh, it really freaked me out, and so that like kind of inspired him to do
oh, cool.
the spoiler alert, neck lady being the girl that kept seeing her. It was herself,
Yeah.
which was so creepy and messed with time and space and shit. And I
Right?
like that. I like that.
Yeah, and
I
she'd
like a
been
good.
basically haunting herself for her entire life.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my god. And she's really just
So
screaming because, like, at the end, when like she
yeah.
dies, she realizes that she was the bent neck lady the whole time, and then oh, it's just
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, she was just never meant to scare herself, but inadvertently it's like one of
Mm-hmm.
those self-fulfilling prophecies or something sort
Yeah.
of thing where you're like you're so scared of something that you come to be the thing that you scare. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
I like that one.
It was one of the few things I ever watched, like compilation reactions of people like watching something else. It
Okay,
was
I bet there would be some big reactions to that because you're gonna
yeah.
like, oh shit. It's one of those moments.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was good. And the only other one I ever did it for was like Game of Thrones when Arya kills
The
the
Night King.
yeah, the Night King. I watched so many of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are
Yeah,
like the
that's a
only
pretty
two
holy shit
things,
moment. Yeah.
yeah, I've ever cared about like people's oh my god like reactions for on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah. Those are the kind of reaction videos I'm here for. Not necessarily
Yeah.
like Pat will watch some where people are reacting to like say bands he likes for the first time, like people listening
Mm.
to different Metallica songs. And it's cool, don't get me wrong. I like how enthusiastic some of these people are. They're like,
Yeah.
"Whoa." But like, yeah, I'm probably more down for that kind of reaction video.
Yeah, there's some
Yeah.
wild ones. I liked there's montages of people that did the last showing for the last episode of Game of Thrones, and they're like in a bar. So there's like 300 people. All of a sudden it's like
Yeah.
dead quiet, and then you just hear ah, and like everybody's just like losing their shit. And you're just like, yeah.
Yeah, Pat definitely lost his shit at the end of that one, but he more
Yeah.
went on a tirade and then left the room. That would have been a short and angry reaction video.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That was, yeah, we won't go there. I have
No.
opinions. It was not great. But the new show is good. Still recommending The House of the Dragon.
Okay, I
It's
haven't watched any of it. My dad's recording it and he keeps saying, we'll watch it together. And
nice.
then every time we get
Oh
together,
god.
I think we forget or get doing other stuff.
Did you watch
So,
Game of Thrones with him too? Some of it?
uh, so I had watched it and I was all caught up. And then I think I was in the last few seasons as it was airing on TV and he was a few years behind. And then
Okay.
I don't even know when he finished watching the show. As far as I knew, he like hadn't even finished watching it. Now he's watching the new show. So I don't even know if he finished the other one
Okay. No, I
or not.
just wondered
But
if it was comfortable watching it with your family. What was with
no.
some of the scenes, how that
I
show could be.
He'd be watching it in the basement and I'd go downstairs and watch it sometimes with him, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's fine. It's nothing you can't get through.
Yeah.
um, but anyway, I've got a ghost story for you today.
I know. I want you to go first.
Okay, that's what I was
First.
thinking.
Okay.
I was just like, yeah, I haven't gone first in a while. Why not?
Yeah, and then I already know what mine is, and I won't scare myself with my own ghost story. So if we do yours first, while it's slightly earlier in the evening, I'll be less scared when I try and go to bed.
Okay, well, hopefully I live up to this now. Now it's got to be scary. But yeah, it's got some good. If you're wanting ghosts, yeah, I think I'll bring it.
Ooh,
I
the
just got it
spooky.
now. Yeah, man. That's what October's all about.
Yeah.
Well, you know us. We carry the tradition all year, and not just a spooky time. Or some people do it at what, Christmas time? It used to be a tradition, I guess. Spooky stories.
I don't remember.
I've heard this once or twice. I
Huh.
don't know. Yeah, but it's something we need to bring back for sure. Not enough of us tell
Yeah.
spooky stories at Christmas. um, so speaking as we were of, wait, were we speaking of? Well, now I'm trying to think what we just said on air and not. Um, well, I've got a ghost story for you that is, well, the story of a haunted hotel, which we haven't done, I don't think. Maybe.
No, I think the only hotel specific episode we've done was a true crime one. Is that right?
Yeah, episode 4 was horrors at the hotel, but
Yeah.
it was true crime. But I
Yeah.
came across a lot of hotels when I was making up a short list, albeit I was grabbing it most from podcast episodes I'd listened to about ghosts and stuff. So
Yeah.
it was, I was getting it all from like one or two sources. It's like, okay, where have I heard some good ghost stories?
Right?
Yeah. Love a good ghost story, so want to make sure you do it right. All right, so the hotel in question is one you'll be familiar with. It is the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel. Um,
Yes. That's
this is in,
the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel. That's what on the side of the mountain, right? I like the side of the
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. In Banff National Park, which is in our home province
Yeah.
of Alberta. Woo woo.
It's the one my great somebody, I don't know how many greats, helped build it.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. He was one of
Wow.
the stonemasons and stuff that they brought in to help build it.
Oh, holy shit, that's cool.
Yeah. He used to have a plaque. My parents went a number of years ago, and after they found out there was a plaque and they tried to find it, and they met with like the operators of the Banff Springs. They toured all the way through there, and then they toured through
Yeah.
different libraries and like records and everything and historical records in Banff to try and find out what happened to this plaque. Because it got sent somewhere. It's not on the Banff Springs anymore, and they couldn't
Oh,
find it. Um, so
damn.
yeah, at this point
That's
they're
shitty.
basically just trying to find like even one of our relatives maybe that has a picture of the plaque or something, but it had his
Yeah.
name and everything on it.
Oh, yeah, because that's so cool. That's one of the
Yeah.
things we like to go look at when we cross the bridge that my dad worked on, was everybody that worked on it had like a little stone with their name on. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's cool. You want to, but it's had a long history, so that might I don't know,
Yeah.
not to excuse it, but I think it might explain it a little bit. It's an old hotel. Is
Yeah.
it? It's like, could this have brought your helped bring some of your ancestors to this area? That's so cool.
Well,
Or
he
like,
his family after that sometime around there he ended up building a stone farmhouse in Manitoba, and my mom used to
oh,
stay there with my aunt and everything when they were like really young, like around 10 and stuff. So he
okay,
also built that, but that was in Manitoba, and that's where like he lived. So I don't know how much he was in Alberta. It might have just been for
okay.
this, and then he went back to Manitoba
Oh wow.
because he was
Oh
supposed to be
neat.
pretty popular and like sought after and stuff. So yeah, they might have brought him in
Cool.
to Alberta just for that.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
definitely a specific trade. I
Yeah.
dated a guy that was going to school to be a stonemason one time, and it was like, oh, okay, like this is actually pretty involved, like being an electrician or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a specialized skill.
that's so cool. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
hotel.
We drove through the little loop when we went up there. Um, just when we went up there
Okay.
recently. And, like, did a drive by because I
Yeah.
hadn't seen it in a long time. It's so nice.
Right. It's like we can't afford to stay there, but we'll look at it.
Right? Oh my god.
Yeah, the
So
Symphony Under the Stars was at a Fairmont property, which we have stayed at once, but only when we could get it for under 250 a night. Yeah,
yes. Yeah.
it's crazy what those places go for.
Mm-hmm.
I found out a fun fact during my research. I didn't know that Banff is Canada's first national park and also the third in the world. The world's
Wow.
third national park. Yeah.
That's pretty
um,
cool.
yeah, it's old as fuck, basically. um, it was enlarged in 1887, and at that time it was just called the Rocky Mountains National Park. So
Okay.
I didn't know that. Um, and the hotel itself, the Banff Springs, was also it's also called the Castle of the Rockies, which is cool, I think.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah. Um, and it was built in 1888, so 100 years
Yeah.
before I was born.
Yeah,
Jesus.
it's real
Um,
old.
right. So it was kind of built during when the railway was being built further and further west, much like in America. All the people kept pushing further and further west. So that's how they came up with why to build a hotel out in what I'm sure was the middle of nowhere at the time. And it's still pretty
Oh yeah.
like in the woods and whatever.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's apparently considered to be built in the style of Canadian chateau-esque with elements of Scottish baronial architecture and the arts and crafts movement.
I mean,
Ooh.
that's fair. The relative that built it is from like a small area in like off Scotland. So,
Oh my god.
yeah.
Yes, it's basically supposed to look like a castle.
It does. It really does look like a castle.
Oh, we have to stay there. Goals.
So
They have had,
expensive.
yeah, yeah. We'll have to get a deal. We'll have to get a deal. Um, and speaking of castles, they've had royalty stay here, including
Hmm.
Queen Elizabeth II, may she rest in peace. King George VI, and also people like Helen Keller and Marilyn Monroe,
Yeah.
celebrities.
Yeah, Marilyn Monroe. Was it in Jasper? It must have been in Banff and Jasper, like area. She was filming a movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anywhere they needed mountains and they wanted them cheaper than the U.S. Rocky Mountains.
Yeah, I don't know what movie it is because there's a picture of her at one of the hot springs and stuff as well.
Oh.
Uh, yeah.
Ooh, I wonder if I can find that and put it on our social media. That sounds cool.
Yeah, I see it because I follow a Facebook group that's, I think it's called Old Timey Canada or something, and they're always
Oh.
posting pictures about stuff, but they always post about like Marilyn Monroe and where she was in Canada and like a bunch of other people. But I feel like I
Okay.
run across pictures of her from Alberta like at least once or twice like a week. I'm like, okay, like picture something
Wow.
else. Like,
Yeah, we get it. She was
yeah.
here. um, and oh, one more person that was there was the guy, the other royal, Edward, Prince of Wales, who I guess was the one that was like briefly King Edward VIII, but then abdicated to marry Wallace Simpson, a socialite and divorcee. Scandalous.
Wouldn't know anything
So,
about that.
well, it's interesting to me because that's, I think, the one that was the uncle of Queen Elizabeth II. And so because he abdicated, then her dad had to become king. And so then when
Oh.
he died, then she became queen. I feel like it had like kind of a direct, you know, I think it was her uncle, but I
Hmm.
could be wrong. I didn't write that part down, relying on my terrible memory. I just watched The Crown, so that's what I'm basing it off of. No, in general knowledge. And also in 1988, the hotel became a National Historic Site of Canada and is now considered to be a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So it's here to stay. Nobody can bulldoze it or anything now.
Yeah, who would want to?
Oh
It's
yeah, I'll have to put pictures. It's so pretty. To give you an
yeah.
idea for those that haven't been there, it's this little gem is tucked away in a valley carved out by a glacier amid the Rocky Mountains. This stone castle is surrounded by glacier-fed lakes of turquoise waters. My travel agent is
Yeah.
showing. No. And of course, the Banff Hot Springs, the main attraction to that particular spot, and why they built right
Hmm.
there, I guess. I haven't been to
Yeah.
them, unfortunately.
The Banff
We couldn't
Hot
even make
Springs.
it to the. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say the Banff Hot Springs isn't as nice as the Jasper one. Uh,
Oh, the
the
Mayette Hot
Jas,
Springs?
yeah, the Myatt one's a lot nicer because the
Oh,
Banff Hot
okay.
Springs is like a sulfur one, and it just smells like
Oh,
rotten
okay.
egg, like
Sure, that would take
extremely
away from it.
strongly. Yeah. And the
Yeah.
Jasper one doesn't at all. The Myatt Hot Springs doesn't at
Okay.
all.
We keep
Yeah.
trying to get to the Jasper one. I mean, we literally were just in Jasper, but it was closed for the season because it's literally like October, and normally by now we'd probably like be pretty chilly and maybe even have snow places.
Yeah.
Um, my mom's um, husband, Claude, was just because she's out of town visiting me. Then he went to visit some of his family in Ontario, and we were having a hot day, and he was like, "Yeah, we just got like 6 inches of snow." It's like, oops,
Yeah.
Canada's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, it's just a beautiful area, in my opinion. The Rocky Mountains, Canada side, are probably even more beautiful, but I haven't really been to the ones in the U.S., so I can't really say that for sure.
Yeah.
But they're very pretty, and um, I must point out, especially because I'm, married to a BC boy, that it's on the border. Most of these, the mountain range is
Yeah.
basically the natural divider between BC and Alberta, and has all these crazy ski hills on either side.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a hot spot for tourists. um, so it was originally wood, but then it was rebuilt in stone after a fire in 1926, and was loosely based on a Scottish castle with towers and the like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so of course I love it.
Yeah, I just like
uh,
stone buildings. It's like my favorite
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
yeah, stonework and just beautiful architectural details. Oh,
Yeah.
all the like rusticness of all the stuff in the mountain towns is like everything's like wood and stone, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Looks like a log cabin, and yeah, gorgeous. So yeah, it's definitely been a world-class destination ever since, and this hotel has 768 rooms of various sizes, so it's pretty big. Um,
Mhm.
yeah. And like when you're there, you can definitely do all the skiing and the snowshoeing in the winter, and the golfing, hiking, fishing, river rafting, and horseback riding in the other months.
Oh yeah.
And then relax in the spa afterwards, because they all have a spa, and theirs is called the Willow Stream.
Oh, nice.
Oh. And then okay, this I have done because the Banff gondola. I remember when I was a kid, we did a cross country trip, and we were so young, we were like calling it the granola.
It's cute.
But
I like that.
yeah, it's basically like the Sky Tram. Which, did I say that before we started recording or after? But you take the little cable car thing up the side of a mountain and get all those gorgeous pictures, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. The resident historian at the hotel is a man named David Moberg, so he could tell you all about the ghosts and stories of the hotel, if he still works there, hopefully. And I came across a fun fact that said the hotel was actually built backwards, with the amazing mountain vista views available to the kitchen staff and not the paying guests.
Oh, Jesus.
But this was discovered partway through the construction by Van Horn, the guy who built it, I guess, when he visited to check on progress. Bet he was pretty pissed. This is a quote,
Yeah.
sorry. Renovations fixed this to move things around, plus the addition of a gazebo. It didn't really matter though. And that's because this was before the fire, so it was going to be rebuilt anyway. So it's
Oh,
actually
okay.
all facing right now.
That's good. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that sucks.
I know, I was like, it what now? They did, huh? What is this, the Winchester Mystery House? Everything's counterintuitive.
Yeah.
All right, so on to the ghosts. There is the bride is what is going on downstairs? The bride, the cliche um, woman in white that you might see because
Yeah.
she's in her wedding dress. Um, she was supposedly a woman in the 1920s that was staying at the hotel about to be married to her beau. But on her wedding day, as she swept down the staircase to the delight of the onlookers below, something tragic happened. Whether she simply snagged her heel on her gown, or she got startled and tripped, or the dress just caught fire and that caused her to lose her
What?
balance, the stories are mixed.
The dress suddenly. She tripped or she suddenly caught fire on the staircase. I was not expecting you to say
Well,
that.
sorry. Well, there's apparently a lot of candles on the side of the staircase.
Oh, okay.
So it's possible that what caused the incident was the dress catching fire. Either way,
I
it
see.
seems to be, yeah, it seems to be decided on that like she eventually her dress was burning and she fell and probably broke her neck. It's
Mm.
unconfirmed, obviously.
And she became the bent neck lady.
Sorry.
Full
Sorry.
circle.
Yeah. Ah, I wonder if she saw her doppelganger. Ah. Um, Now she is often seen like a veiled figure on the staircase going forever up and down, or she's seen either dancing sometimes or dining alone in the Cascade Ballroom, waiting for her love to find her in death, I guess. I don't know.
Jeez. She's been waiting 100 years.
Right? Why can't she move on? He's certainly dead by now.
Yeah.
But fun for her, apparently she's so iconic she was given her own collectible stamp as part of the Haunted Canada series and a
Love
commemorative
it.
coin.
I
Yeah.
love Canada. Like, what is wrong with us? We already, and a commemorative coin. We talked about the cryptid coins. Now we have ghosts on our coin.
Oh, yeah. We do like to put weird things in our coins and not just our animals.
Yeah, and now in Alberta, we got dinosaurs on our driver's license, because why not?
That's true.
We're
Because
keeping
they
it
found a lot
classy.
of bones here. Yeah.
Keep it
Where do you
classy
think
with
they
our,
found the Albertasaurus?
yeah, our Monopoly money that people believe smells like
Oh,
maple syrup, and I have smelled it. I'm one of
I
those
think
people.
that's
I believe
a myth.
no, because like in our cash office, I'm counting like literally
Yeah.
$7,000, and like you can smell freaking maple syrup sometimes.
No, really?
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah, it's
gosh. I
weird.
think I was like, I think that one is maybe they could talk us into it by telling us that enough. But it's you can't rip it. You could basically get it wet. Like it's like this plastic money. It is really cool. Like I
It,
don't know what they can do to it. I would believe they could do almost
yeah,
anything.
it doesn't hold up. It can crack. It gets like cracks in it
Okay.
weirdly in spots, and then pieces will fall. And it can be like the part of it can be worn off, like all the silver that they put on it and
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
That foily
the
stuff can all get
holographic
worn off.
sort of. Yeah.
Yeah, because I had
Okay.
one in when I was counting the money that like all that stuff was worn off, and like half of it was a $5 bill, and like half
Yeah.
the blue part was gone, and I was like, wow. So it was just like clear plastic. I was like, what is this?
Oh, that
I
is
was like,
strange.
yeah.
Just like all the color leached out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, so this next ghost is probably my favorite.
Ooh.
And his name was Sam Macaulay, and we know that. And he's probably the next one that's seen the most by guests. He was a former bellman that worked at the hotel in the 60s and 70s.
Oh,
So,
okay.
kind of explains how they knew him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was the head bellman. A very, by the time he, worked there and died, elderly Scottish gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, aw, I love him already. So by the time he passed, he was still working there in 1975. He I think retired. retired a few times, but just kept coming back, like one of those kind of people.
Yeah.
um, he stayed on in his beloved post, still helping guests who need help getting into rooms or turning on lights, things that were always his duties. And then I have another quote about Sam. To say Sam loved working at the hotel would be an understatement. Retiring from his job on numerous occasions, he was always drawn back to the role he enjoyed so much. At one point, the aging Sam informed his friends and colleagues that when he died, he would return to haunt the Banff Springs Hotel.
Oh, well, he predicted that one.
He's like, just so you know, I plan on it, so
Yeah.
be prepared. He's part of the Midnight Club. He's like, I'm gonna do this
Right.
and that will be me. Which I think is a good idea. You should have a sign set up with your friends and loved ones. Like, what are you gonna say if you come back after you die? How are you gonna let them know it's you specifically? Like, I think
Yeah.
Houdini had a trigger word with his wife because he was obsessed with it.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
In
he
the
might have
show,
talked
what
about
they
it.
do is they thought one person had seen a sign, so the next time they all get together they were talking about it and they voted on whether or not they believed it was a sign, and they're like, nope, not a sign, because it was just for a second, they didn't say anything. And like all the medications they're on, because they're kids with like cancer and terminal illnesses,
Oh,
some of
yeah,
them can cause hallucinations. So
sure.
yeah, they're just like, they don't know, and they all voted and were like, it wasn't a sign.
Oh
um
no, that's
yeah,
sad. Okay, I have to watch this show now.
it's good. I'm really enjoying it. It's like fun. It's not
Sounds
too
cute.
like scary, and it's got like kind of a murder mystery going on like in the
Oh,
plot.
hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm digging it.
I just picked up a bunch of those from the library. Murder mystery.
Yeah.
So for Sam, there's one story about him that people always tell about these two older women who were guests in the hotel that had rung for the bellman to help them get into their room. They were having trouble with the key, but the regular bellman at the time was busy with another guest. Uh,
Hmm.
so when he returned, it was actually 15 minutes later to his desk or whatever, and he heard that this room needed help, and so he headed to their room only to find out that they were already inside. And so puzzled, he like knocked and asked them how they got help because he was only the only person on duty at the desk.
Oh,
And they said an elderly gentleman who was wearing a plaid jacket had helped them, and that was the
creepy.
description of Sam.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's
Oh,
creepy.
yeah, there was one tiny picture of him in another group of people, and they were wearing plaid pants in that one. But I forgot to see if it, uh, or to download it, to put it on the drive.
Yeah.
um,
I
but
mean,
yeah,
it's
he
a
said it would
helpful
help them.
ghost.
Yeah, which is awesome. You just don't get that too often.
No, we had one of our hauntings, I think we were talking about one of them who folded laundry or something, wasn't it?
Oh my gosh.
Do you remember that?
No, I can't remember that right now either.
Oh,
I've listened to too many
I might have
podcasts.
done it. I might have talked about it.
Okay, it is always easier to remember the stuff that you talk about
Yeah.
yourself than, yeah,
Yeah.
usually, just because you wrote the notes.
Yeah.
um, so he would also help guests get to their proper floors in the elevator, perform wake up calls, and help guests haul up their luggage. So he's still strong,
Busy.
apparently. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Guests,
700 guests. That's a lot.
yeah, exactly. Um, Guests describe seeing an elderly Scottish bellman in decades old garb, or because his old office is now a guest room, they'll see him there in that particular room, which is on the mezzanine floor, I guess. And then people will feel cold spots on the sixth, seventh, and ninth floors. The ninth floor, especially, he's seen a lot on. I guess he likes it. I don't know. Maybe that's the one his old office is on. That wasn't clear to me.
Oh.
Yeah, but if you do try to start up like an actual conversation with him or try to tip him, then he immediately vanishes. So
Oh.
that's why I guess he can keep helping people, but nobody really catches on in time. It's like, wait, that was a ghost?
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be creepy.
But you're also like, thank you.
Helped me to my room,
Yeah,
carried my suitcase for me.
right. And if you do see the elevator doors opening on their own, one source said that it's Sam's way of saying hi. So maybe that was his sign. Because he liked to help people in the elevators. I
Yeah,
love Sam.
sounds pretty great.
Yeah. And then just to end it off, because mine's not super, super long, we have some haunted rooms, actually.
Ooh.
Ooh. Um, so the one that we kind of know the room number for is actually the one that has a very dark history, so that the room doesn't really exist anymore. It was room
Oh,
873. Yes. So,
873.
yes. I know. And yes, I came across a few things that were like, ooh, haunted rooms. This was probably the inspiration for like The Shining. And I was like, but it's not though.
Yeah, because The
It was,
Shining wasn't that was the Stanley Hotel, and it's like its own
yeah,
thing. So,
exactly. But I can see why people would get confused. There's some similarities.
yeah.
Um, yeah, like we got a haunted room. It's rumored that what happened in there was a family annihilation. A
Oh,
man
jeez.
staying with his wife and daughter and killed them and then himself, apparently. Not that there's any um, actual record of it. So,
Yeah.
but who knows? Well, they definitely said there was investigations, and then
Oh,
they
okay.
closed off the room. So it might be something where like they don't like to talk about it too much now because it's not maybe great for tourism
Yeah.
or whatever.
I should
Um,
ask because my dad, I believe it's my dad's cousin, she used to work at the Banff Springs
ooh,
Hotel. She worked there for like a number of years. Um,
seriously, you have so many
I
family connections.
I can't remember what my dad said she did there. Um, yeah, I can't remember. He was just telling me about it just when we were like
Okay.
driving in the area to go look at it and stuff. But I
Oh
can't remember what he said because
man.
we never stayed there because it was before like you guys were born, and but she would have gotten
Mm-hmm.
the rooms really cheap and we could have stayed there. And they were talking about
Oh
like, well, we don't know because
damn.
it's been like decades since she worked there, like years and years since she worked there. If like, oh yeah, so and so used to work here,
Okay.
like if you could pull any strings. But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. No kidding. But yeah, if she'd worked there for a while, I'm sure she'd heard some stories. So that's cool.
yeah,
It'd be cool to talk to her.
yeah.
Um, and now they hear screams you can hear around there. And sorry, it's like the room's covered up now, but either in that room or rooms adjacent where people will always see these bloody handprints appear on the mirror.
Oh, creepy.
Yeah. And apparently they would either like disappear immediately, like before that you could get the housekeeping to come up there and clean
Yeah.
them, or they would just stubbornly refuse to go away at all and you couldn't scrub them off.
That's creepy. I
Yeah.
have a thing similar in mine where it's like
Ooh.
mirrors. Yeah.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, I guess it's since been boarded off and it looks like a hallway, just a long bit of hallway where they're missing a room where it used to be.
Hmm.
But you could tell because every other floor has a room ending in 7-3 except for the eighth floor. And yeah, I watched a little quick clip where like, yeah, 873, 875, you got all the other ones, and then just a big long space. And
Weird.
apparently on that space of the wall outside the old room, sometimes a small girl's shadow will appear, and sometimes people have been able to photograph that too. So
Oh, creepy.
yeah, it'd be cool to find some of those pictures.
Yeah.
Um, and the last room, there was a secret room, the last secret room,
Oh.
that was built, yeah, during construction on the original wood structure. But basically, just an error occurred, and they built a room with no doors or windows. Um,
Because
so they
that's
were like,
not friggin'
"Oopsie."
creepy. That's so creepy.
Yes, it was an accident. Does the air quotes. But like, yeah, so they just tried to like hide it from the owner. They were like, "Oops, that's a wrong kind of room. Guess we can't fix that because I don't know why you couldn't just put a door in it." But they just kept it hidden, and it wasn't discovered until the 1926 fire. And then when that broke out,
Jeez.
then they were like, "Hey, there was a weird room in here."
So they hid it for 40 years
I
almost.
guess.
Wow. I mean, they
Oh my god,
succeeded.
40 years? Am I
Yeah,
going to
because
be
you said
40 in 1926? Or, I mean, in 2026? Giving me a crisis. Sorry. I'm with you. You're right. Yeah, it was a while. It was a while they
yeah,
kept it secret. I don't know how. They just like
cool.
there's so many boarded up places. It's like maybe it was
Yeah.
just they're like, what's to see back there? Nothing. Storage. But ever since it was discovered, from what I could read, nothing happened in that room because it wasn't discovered until the fire. But then, ever since the fire, apparently in that area, people see figures in that section of the hallway, like waiting
Oh,
outside the
creepy.
room. I know.
Weird.
And people also report hearing the burning bride, as they like to call her, in the bridal suite, even when it's vacant. So
Oh,
that
that'd be
room's
so
haunted
sad.
too. Yeah, that part is sad, isn't it? Yeah. You're like, damn, girl. Why is there always a dead bride or a dead wife? Like, I hear so many stories where they're like, and she was waiting for her husband to come home from,
Yes. Ugh.
being at sea, and then he didn't come home with the first boat, so she killed herself, and then he, like, comes home the next day. And you're like, no! If only
Yeah.
you had waited.
This ain't Romeo and Juliet. Calm down. Like,
Yeah, don't be so quick to off yourself. You
yeah,
have so much to
sleep
live
on it.
for. Yeah, just a man.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of Shining esque. A phantom bartender has been seen by both staff and guests.
Ooh. Yeah, very
No word on.
Shining-esque.
Yeah, no word on whether he looks like Jack Torrance.
Yeah.
And he will cut you off saying that you've had too much to drink and then you should go to bed.
All the ghosts sound like, I mean, I don't know about the burning bride, but everybody else sounds
Yeah,
semi-helpful. They're just
true,
continuing
true.
their jobs
They're
for
very
eternity.
benign. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't feel like they're a evil entity at all.
Yeah.
Pardon me. Oh, and then there's a rumored headless ghost who plays the bagpipes, just for good measure.
How? How do you play the bagpipes
Right?
if you're headless?
I don't know, but he's the one you can't find any more information on, so it's
Oh,
possible it's just a story that keeps getting repeated. But it was in a lot of different sources, so I don't
interesting.
know. Yeah. There was an article I read for on Canadian Living, and when the author went there to stay at the hotel, Aiden was the guard on duty, And he visited, and this Tim Johnson guy who was writing the article asked him a few questions while on his rounds. And the guard said, "We do regular sweeps of all the guest room floors, and one night, every time I passed the elevator, it opened, but nobody got off." And so
Mm.
Tim asked him, who was writing the article, said, "Was it Sam, the bellman, do you think?" And Aiden replied, "The guy works here for decades, and what does he do after he dies? He comes back and works the elevators? No, I don't believe that."
Right?
Bit of a skeptic, I think, is he.
It'd be the saddest afterlife ever. Unless,
But
I
he
mean,
loved
unless
his
he like,
job.
yeah, super enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
don't, I can't imagine
But
spending
yeah,
my life being in customer service. No, thank you.
no, no. I'd come back and do the podcast though. um, so as Tim was heading back to his suite where he was writing this lovely article, uh oh, which by the way was called the Vice Regal. Ooh la la. The suite.
Oh.
Because of course it was. And then the doors just swung suddenly shut in front of him. So he was a little bit puzzled and felt a bit eerie until he heard the fire alarm go off too. And then he realized it was just part of the fire safety prevention measures.
Oh god.
So I guess that wasn't so scary. But skeptic Aiden does share another anecdote from his time as a guard there. At the Waldhaus restaurant during one of his night rounds, he passed through to see a bar stool spinning round and round of its own accord. Nobody else was
Oh.
around. Everything was closed. Yeah.
That'd be creepy.
Right? How can you still be a skeptic after you saw that? You can't explain that.
Yeah. Gordo
And
just woke up from his
that's
nap.
what I got. What?
Oh, sorry. It's just like Gordo woke up from his nap. He was like
Oh no.
stretching, kicking his legs out, and he was shaking like that.
Oh yes, the big
This-
stretch.
I'm like, don't
Yeah,
kick
the
my
jiggle
mic.
stretch.
Yeah, the jiggle stretch. Oh, but he's like,
Yeah. It's like, yeah, Fenrir does that. I'm familiar.
yeah, I'm like, oh, that's a good looking stretch.
Yeah. No, I don't want to buy Microsoft 365. Okay. Um that's it for me.
Gordo, you're being so distracting right
Oh my
now.
god.
He keeps stretching and he's like literally slowly like turning so his like stomach and he's half upside down, so he's like, oh, on the
Oh, there,
desk.
cut it.
Nappy
Slowest
cat.
stretch ever. Okay. We will be back after these messages.
Yes. For more spooky stories.
Perfect timing, Gordo. He's excited. He's shaking himself off.
Yay!
Okay. Well, our first one was only 104. That's short for us. Banter and case.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, see, mine's also kind of on the shorter side. It's only 4 pages. Woo!
Mine was
But
only like 5, and some of that was sources. I was gonna I had a back, of course there was other ones on the short list. You're like, I can do this if this isn't long enough, and then I was like, literally kind of ran out of time, and also was like, well, it's okay. No one's ever complained that they've been too short.
yeah. Uh,
That's funny.
I do have 2 places I'm gonna talk about. And
Oh yeah. Okay.
yeah. We're just being so distracting. Sorry. Just like
Gordo is
painful.
Bordeaux. No.
Oh, he's so cute though. Yeah.
Yes. I can't
So,
see him, but I assume he's doing his
oh,
derpy little
so
face.
cute. Yeah, he's got such a derpy face.
That's like my mom will be
The
like, Fenrir, he's laying with his tongue half out. I'm like, yeah, that's his little blep tongue. Yep, he does that. Lots of
yes.
dogs do.
Oh, love it.
Yeah.
So I did for mine put a few pictures in the drive. Uh,
Oh, damn.
both of the
That's a
places
drag.
and of the ghosts that I found.
What? Oh,
Yes, it's
shit.
actually kind of creepy. That's part of the reason I picked these is because I was like, oh, that like legit, you can see something like in these pictures.
Ah!
Oh,
Oh, I love it when there's a picture to look up.
yeah. The
Oh,
first
okay.
place is called the Myrtles Plantation. Uh,
Okay.
hmm.
That was the
And
one I had heard of, like,
yeah,
in looking for a case.
you
Yeah.
said you ran across it. This one is located in Louisiana, and it's a huge house or mansion on this plantation that has 20 rooms sitting on high ground. So I think it was like maybe a hill area. It
Oh,
was,
okay, it's always good to have the high ground.
yep, it was owned by the Woodruffs, and
Ooh.
Mr. Woodruff was a prestigious judge. And because it's a plantation, you can assume that there was numerous slaves
Sure.
that worked
Yeah.
on the property, and the family was known pretty well for their cruelty. I assume in their treatment of these slaves. So
Oh no.
yeah,
That's even worse because, like, having slaves was also something that, like, quite a few people did at the time, but then it's like you're
yeah,
also known for being shitty to them.
yeah.
Great. Oh no.
Uh, so one of the house slaves went by the name Chloe. So this is one of the ghosts that they say haunts the place. So when she was alive, she tried to protect herself from the abuse she was receiving by the family by trying to listen to the Woodruff's conversations and using this to predict what their mood was like and would try and modify her
Oh.
behavior accordingly. So pretty like
Oh damn.
abuse survival things.
Oh yeah, that's a
Um
total technique. Like,
yeah.
you just become attuned to people's moods, especially if you know they're like gonna fly off the handle at any given moment.
Yeah. One time, however, she was caught eavesdropping, and in just terrible, terrible cruelty, Mr. Woodruff decided to have Chloe's ears cut off. And
Okay.
yeah,
That's a
uh,
bit much.
yeah, it's absolutely brutal. This disfigurement, like she continued to work on the property, and at the request of the Woodruffs, she hid the disfigurement. I don't know who really knew about it besides them. It was hidden under a green turban that she wore every day.
What the
So no,
hell?
so like nobody knew they had done this to her, I'd assume.
It wasn't even to scare the other slaves then. It's like
Yeah, I don't think so. Which is
just to
just,
be especially cruel. It's
yeah,
like, wow, they're sadistic. Okay. I hate them.
yeah. So obviously, this very traumatic experience stayed with Chloe, and she began formulating her plans for revenge. So, on the Woodruff's daughter's ninth birthday, Chloe decided to put her revenge plan into action, and she put the poisonous oleander leaves into the daughter's birthday cake. Uh,
Oh
yeah.
no.
Chloe says
Shit.
that her plan was to simply poison the family and just make them sick. Uh, and saying that she may have intended just to make them sick so that she could nurse them back to health. As in the South, in the US, local healers were more well respected. And if she was able to heal them back to health, this may kind of earn their favor and they may award her better treatment than they had in the past if she could somehow make them better.
Well, at least
Um,
that was her story anyway. I mean, at this point, you
yeah.
had to be like harboring some resentment or some
Oh, yeah.
PTSD from dealing with them. Like,
Uh,
shit.
Other
Sad.
people just say that it was basically her intention to kill the family because
Yeah.
Chloe did end up putting too much of the leaves into the cake, and she did end up succeeding in killing Miss Woodruff and the two children. So I think it was
Oh,
just,
the two children.
yeah, I
They
think it was
didn't
just
do
Mr.
anything.
Woodruff, who I believe didn't eat the cake, and that's why he lived, basically. Yeah.
Okay, well, she
Uh,
had to have known that she
yeah.
was punishing the kids too by doing that. Like, come
Yeah.
on, girl. Ugh.
So after this, the word spread through the plantation about what she had done, and through the different slaves that were also on the property. And the other slaves were actually the ones to take revenge. Um, just like absolutely brutal. They like basically attacked Chloe, and they ended up stringing her up by the neck out in the open for everyone to see, like from a tree. And they left her there
What?
until she died. Basically, I don't know if it like broke her neck or like suffocated her, or if they just left her there. But she ended up
Because she
dying.
killed their masters
Yeah,
or whatever.
basically. It didn't really have a thing,
Oh,
just that they all turned against her.
that's
Um,
not what I was expecting. I thought
right? Yeah.
they would have
Uh,
been like more happy about that. I
yeah, I
mean,
don't know if they
it's a
were maybe
for the
punished for
kids.
it or something. Yeah, or it could be for the
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah, it wasn't like you couldn't do anything as as a slave to like a white person because you'd
Yeah.
immediately get killed.
Yeah. So after she was strung up, I assume in a tree, she was eventually cut down, and they weighted her body down with rocks, and she was thrown into the Mississippi River.
Holy
So
shit,
brutal.
okay.
Not too long after this, the plantation was sold to a new family, with the new owners consisting of a wealthy man and his five children, who would all eventually pass away, I believe, in the house from tuberculosis.
Oh no.
Yeah, this property is just like crazy. Uh,
Right? Yeah. I didn't find much about the deaths in mine, but yours is like no wonder this place is haunted.
right? So that family now all died as well. The plantation was then passed to one of the surviving daughters, along with her husband. They were the Winters. So this is one of the daughters
Okay.
of that wealthy man. Mr.
Love that
Winter,
name.
yeah, it's a pretty good name. Mr. Winter, her husband, was a proud member of the community and taught Sunday school at the house. And so, I mean, one day
Okay.
Mr. Winter was teaching when an unknown man rode up on a horse on the property and was yelling for Mr. Winter to come out and talk to him, basically. He
Did
came
he have
out
a
of the
head?
house. Yeah.
Okay. The headed
he
horseman.
So when Mr. Winter came out of the house, this unknown man shot at Mr. Winter as he was kind of standing on the porch.
Oh my god.
Mr. Winter fled the porch and went back inside the house and was able to stagger up the stairs before eventually dying in his wife's arms. So,
Damn.
yeah.
That escalated quickly.
Uh,
What the heck?
the last bit of information I basically have
That's
before we
all you
get to
have on that story? Damn.
the hauntings, before I get to the hauntings and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, no, but that just that
Yeah.
other one, it's like I wish there was more. I was like, what happened? Why did you do that?
Yeah, no, that's all I
Oh,
have.
shit.
Today, as far as I could tell, the plantation is operating as a bed and breakfast. It was recognized
Oh,
by National Geographic as one of the most haunted houses in America. They,
damn.
yeah, they do some visiting tour, or there's do some tours for visitors on the grounds, as well as through the buildings during the day and special ones at night. So even though it's operating
Cool.
as a bed and breakfast, it does do these like ghost tours. Um,
Okay. Hopefully they don't keep you up when you're
yeah,
trying to sleep and they're investigating.
right. Visitors report hearing heavy footsteps from this staircase from empty staircases that they think is Mr. Winter. I guess they're like kind of clompy, like angry footsteps. Um, can't comment on whether or not he seemed like an angry person in life because all I had was like 4 sentences. Uh,
Right, because he wasn't the one that was an asshole to Chloe.
no, he's the
That was.
school teacher that got shot.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. We don't know why he got shot. Yeah.
No, I couldn't find anything else. Um,
Okay.
this was a lot of this information also was from like the Myrtles Plantation website. They had a lot of the history and stuff too. Yeah.
Nice. Right from the source.
Yeah. They actually had a lot of stuff about the ghosts and everything and like some of the
Oh,
best
cool.
like photographic ones. I was like, yeah, take that off their website. Cool.
I love
Um
that. It's like lean into it.
yeah. So, yeah, they think that's Mr. Winter. The plantation has been used as a film set in a few movies, such as the movie Long Hot Summer. I don't think I've ever watched that or could tell you anything about it, but it was filmed
Sounds
there, I guess.
familiar-ish.
It's interesting because when they were filming, the cast and crew witnessed furniture moving around the house on its own.
Oh,
And
damn. Maybe they filmed that
yeah,
this summer. It was long and hot. It's
right?
new. Yeah.
The activity
Creepy.
continued, and then in the 1970s, it was purchased by the Myers family. I think the
Michael
Myers.
Myers.
That's what I thought too. No. We got into the Myers. I think. Who were the Myers? I recognize the name. I don't know. I think they're the ones that operate it now. Maybe that's why I know the name. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So they
Current
purchased it by
owners.
the Myers
Sorry.
family. Multiple guests and residents have reported seeing transparent and ghostly apparitions of a young girl wearing a green turban on the property.
Oh,
So they believe
no.
that's Chloe.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. There's also a
It's very specific. It's like it's too
yeah,
specific not to be Chloe.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also so if you go through the pictures that are on the drive,
Okay.
I did kind of put them into order so that it wouldn't give too many spoilers. So, yeah, the first picture, and then if you go to the second picture, the first picture is just kind of like of the grounds.
They're
Um,
always those big, sweeping white houses with wraparound porches, aren't they?
yeah, that's a big thing they were talking about. Everybody loves the porch. Uh,
I
so
think they went
there's,
to one on, I'm sorry. I know they went to like a plantation on Ghost Hunters, but I think it was like Rose Hall. I don't think it was this one.
oh,
But maybe
yeah.
you'll tell me. I don't know. Yeah. Okay,
I
I'm
didn't
on
run
the
anything
second
this
one.
one. So this
Okay.
second one, there's this when I said, "Oh, mirrors," there's a thing about mirrors in mine. There's this
Ugh.
reoccurring issue with a mirror in the ground hallway where this antique mirror sits outside the dining room. Visitors report seeing the Woodruff's children appear in the mirror near the room where they were actually poisoned.
Oh
And
no.
yeah. Uh, Additionally, what you can see in the photograph is one researcher said that each time the mirror is replaced or resilvered, the same handprint or handprints reappear in the mirror, which is what that picture is
Yeah.
of. And you can see it, like there's markings on it very clearly, and it looks like palm and fingers. It's just kind of smeared a
Yeah.
little bit, but you can definitely
Right.
see
Yeah.
it.
Like in dust. Like, yeah, from muddy hands or something.
Yeah.
Oh, gross. Yeah, I could see that
Yeah.
immediately when I opened up the picture. And then you said you could
Yeah.
see the kids in the mirror sometimes, and I was like, ew,
Yeah, you
even
can't see
worse.
that in that picture. From what I could find, I couldn't find that one, but the handprint one is
Oh,
from, I think,
that's
I don't think
crazy.
that was from their website, but the next few pictures are from their website, the Myrtles
Oh, damn.
Plantation.
Okay.
So there's a picture, you can go to picture 3. There's a picture of 2 girls that were taken on the grounds that appear to show a young girl referred to as the ghost girl that they say is wearing
Oh,
a red dress and standing in the window behind them. So like the picture, it's kind of like the 2
oh,
pictures, and the one zooms in, and then the picture after that is even more zoomed in, and you can actually see like her silhouette. You can make out her supposed face and even the details of her dress. It's pretty creepy.
and the
Um,
second one? Oh, okay.
well,
Sometimes I
in
have a
the
hard time.
so there's the picture of the 2 ladies that, and the
Okay,
one zooms in, and then the picture after that, picture 4, is like really
I
zoomed in.
see.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is easier to see there. That looks,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
pretty
can see a
creepy.
face and stuff now, and
Yeah, like you can see the
a
pattern of the
body.
dress and everything. Like,
Yeah, like it's
yeah, it's
got
creepy.
stripes on the bottom and then
Yeah.
on the waist, and then some sort of
Yep.
collar, I would say.
Yeah.
Wow.
Um,
Shit.
so yeah, those were creepy. That's from the Myrtles Plantation website. Um,
Man, yeah, you don't ever get clear pictures.
yeah.
Like, yeah, that's almost like there's one called like the Demon Boy. I forget where it is now, but it's
Mm,
like, yeah, where you could actually see like a head and face, and you're like, okay, yeah, that's,
yeah.
yeah.
Uh, the next one is a little hard to see, but in 1992, the owner of the plantation took a what is referred to as a famous photograph that they say is a picture containing Chloe's spirit. The picture was
Oh,
taken to document the property for insurance purposes, so it's kind of like a wide shot. And when I think I can't remember who said that they noticed that there was a figure standing against the white siding, kind of in the
oh
middle.
wow.
So that's picture 5. If you
Uh,
look almost dead center, there's like an arrow pointed to it. I forgot
when you
to
said
save
it
one where
captured,
it's like zoomed in
sorry.
or anything,
Oh,
but
okay. I was like, captured her spirit, let it out. You know, like how
oh
some cultures think that, like, if you take
yeah,
their picture, yeah, it steals their soul. Yeah, there's something up against the side of that house.
yeah. There's better ones that are zoomed in. I didn't realize I didn't save any of them, but you can make out when it's like zoomed in super close. You can make out like the arm. You can make out their head and everything, and you can
Okay, yeah,
clearly
because it does
see.
look like,
Yeah,
sorry, sorry, like a person like leaning against the
yeah,
wall with their arms kind of crossed in front of them or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so from the Myrtles Plantation website, I liked their little write up they had about this picture. It said the National Geographic Explorer filming crew determined that the photograph definitely contained what appeared to be an apparition of what they believed to be a slave girl. The slave girl appeared in the breezeway between the general store and the butler's pantry of the mansion. The horizontal
Okay.
exterior boards of the mansion were clearly visible through the body of the apparition. That's easier to make out in the zoomed in ones. The
Mm-hmm.
National Geographic Explorer used the photograph and their documentary and suggested that a postcard should be made of the photograph. Uh,
Okay.
Mr. Norman Benoit, a patent researchist, visited the Myrtles plantation in May of 1995 and requested permission to research the postcard. After enlarging the postcard and doing a shadow density procedure, Mr. Benoit discovered that all of the physical measurements of the apparition were of a human dimension and proportions, and the circumference of the head, the length of the shoulder to the elbow, and the length of the elbow to the wrist were all indicative of a human. This postcard is
Okay.
referred, yeah, this postcard is referred to as the Chloe postcard. which I think is what this picture
Oh,
was. This is the postcard um
wow.
that they did. That's why it's not zoomed in. I think it's the
That's so
postcard with like
cool.
the arrow or something. But
Yeah, 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 because there's a very fancy script on the
yeah,
upper corner that
I
says
think
the
this is
Myrtles
supposed to be.
Plantation. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this picture is supposed to be the postcard. But yeah, the zoomed in ones are
Wow.
pretty creepy.
Well, no, you
Yeah.
can see it pretty good even in this one, because,
Yeah,
like,
like you can tell the arm like
yeah.
resting on the side, and it's kind of like a bit of a side profile. It's not quite like straight on, but yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
creepy.
and it's, I don't know, it's different than when you just see kind of a shadow outline of a figure and all you can see is
Yeah,
like a head and two shoulders, say. Like, this one just, yeah, it
it
looks
looks like a
much more
person.
solid. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Really good pictures. Wow.
Yeah, I really like that one. The pictures for the next one aren't like pictures of anything haunting,
Oh,
but
I know. Most places don't have any good
yeah.
pictures. That's why I didn't even bother to look. I was like, I don't know. That does it said some people might have caught the little girl figure, but that was the only one that really
Mm,
said people had pictures of, so I was like, eh.
yeah. Uh, my second place also kind of has not like a cool
Yeah.
history, but a history, and then some hauntings. That's
History
the
is fraught with all sorts of problems, yeah.
yeah. This place is called the Castle of Good Hope, and it's in Cape Town, South Africa. Uh,
Virtual high
yeah,
five, we both did castles.
yeah,
Or
woo!
like castle nicknamed.
Yeah. I feel
Hmm.
like Castle of Good Hope. I hope like is what they named it recently and not what it was originally named, because if it was originally named that, that was pretty shitty of them to do. But
Oh no. Okay.
yeah.
You hope?
Uh
No.
I hope it wasn't called the Castle of Good Hope.
And the place is
So
not called Good Hope. Or
no, it's Cape Town.
okay. Cape
Uh
Town. Okay.
which I've heard of before. Uh
Yeah, yeah.
so this
It's
is
like,
described as kind of a fortress. It has
okay.
like an exterior wall and everything like that. It definitely is very castle-esque. Lots of stonework. It was originally
Yay.
built from clay and timber in 1652.
Oh wow.
So it's old as old could be. It
Yeah, you're
housed
that one wins old AF of the episode.
right.
Yeah.
Uh, so this like fortress housed a church. There was a bell tower, a bakery. There was living quarters. There was also shops, like little stores, as well as cells and dungeons. Uh,
Oops.
because those all go together
Yeah,
perfectly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
shops dotted in between the
bakery,
dungeons.
dungeon. We'll get into the torture chamber in a bit. Uh,
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's why I'm like, if you guys named this the Castle of Good Hope when it was first built, like, you guys suck. Uh,
It was a hopeful name. They were
yeah.
aspiring to be that one day. Hmm.
So, yeah, it was later repurposed from 1666 to 1679 by the Dutch East India Company.
Oh, those
Uh,
guys. They're always
yeah.
doing stuff.
Mm-hmm. And it is in South Africa. It's the country's oldest colonial
Okay.
building and was originally built to serve as a replenishment station for ships that were going to be passing through the Cape. So it was supposed to be,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. It's
Yeah,
like
so it was going to be like
barn.
a, yeah, barge, like shopping dungeon church. I don't know.
It's a nice stopover town.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're on your way to somewhere else and you gotta fuel up and it's like maybe it's at the bottom of the horn or the cape. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
If you look at the first few pictures, it's kind of cool. It shows like the exterior wall that was kind of built surrounding it, and it shows the bell tower. And then the second picture is an aerial shot of it above, and it looks pretty intense. It kind of looks like the Pentagon, like just like
Oh.
intense.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. That it's a
yeah,
pentagon shaped fortress.
yeah,
Very cool.
yeah. It
Yeah,
looks
like
very cool from above. Like, kind of looks like it has like
right.
some sort of hedge like around it too.
Yeah, they've kept it up. It's like places where they are
Yeah.
actually still recreation, like there's the one in Halifax,
Yes.
the Citadel Hill. Yeah, that's a big holy shit though. Yeah, I see the bell tower in the first one and lots and lots
Mm-hmm.
of stone walls, which are so
Yeah.
cool.
It's
Cobblestone
definitely
things.
uh been upkept. They're using it for like a totally different purpose now, which we'll get into at the end. But
That's
uh
good. I hate it when shit like that gets like bombed.
yeah, no, this one's still under operation. It's being used as like a headquarters
Yeah.
by like a group. It's kind of cool.
Okay.
So in 1899 to 1902, the Castle of Good Hope was used as a prison during the second uh, Boer or Farmer War in South
Oh.
Africa. Yeah, so there was this war for 3 years.
One
Um,
of those little wars. Not as
yeah,
famous as the big ones.
no.
But still shitty.
So while it was used as this prison, there was a prisoner who was trying to escape by digging his way through the thick cement wall using an iron spoon, and he did nearly escape.
Wow.
Uh, However, just as he almost got out, there was a large stone that moved and almost crushed him to death, so he was basically trapped.
Oh no.
Yeah,
That
he
sucks.
he was found the next morning unconscious but still alive by a guard. Um,
Oh
so
my
that's all I have
gosh.
about that. There's so many
He's
little
like,
just snippets of
yeah, his like
information.
fingertips are like
Eh,
tasting air, and the guard's like,
yeah,
oh, we found you with a stone on your head. Oh my god.
yeah.
That sucks.
Uh, as I kind of quickly mentioned, the fortress also had a torture chamber that was called
Oh.
the Donker Gat or the Dark Hole.
Oh
And
no.
yeah,
Not
it
not a good
was
hole. Not the good kind of hole.
no,
Well, that is what they call it when they throw you in like the dank, solitary shit on most
yeah,
prison shows. The hole.
yeah, this is the Dark
Ugh.
Hole. It was a
Ugh.
windowless room and it sometimes flooded in the winter. And when it flooded, it actually ended up drowning all the prisoners that were trapped inside.
Oh
So
no.
yeah, I can't imagine just how horrific that would have been. Um,
Ooh, it's like a literal hole. Okay.
yeah.
Holy
So,
shit. No pun intended.
right? The next few pictures, I think, like show the kind of prison. There's one, I think, that just talks about the prison. There's some like shackles and stuff, talks about the dungeon like
Ooh,
rooms, and these little blurbs. I think the holes, I think the
kinky.
one a prison cell, it looks pretty small. But the 10th picture is um a picture because they say it was after it flooded, the walls, I think it's like a wooden wall or a wooden door. There some of them are
Mm-hmm.
lined with like etchings that people scratched in. So there's a picture of that. One of the scratching in says, quote, in this place, a man has been 5 months and more without a crime. So he was probably falsely imprisoned for something.
Okay, that's like really neatly written.
Yeah.
Like someone did that with a knife. It looks like a
And it's
font.
and it's in English in South Africa. So I don't know how much I believe that. but yeah.
Weird.
Um, so prisoners were locked in these rooms for months to years sometimes, and they basically said
Wow.
that while the castle was operating as a prison, if you even made it to the prison as a prisoner, you were just believed to be already guilty. It didn't matter if you had had a trial
Hmm.
or anything.
Shitty.
Um, yeah. There's a tour guide, Shamir Robertson, at the castle who said, quote, if they were even just suspected of their crime, they were punished. He adds that even if it was put to trial, they were always found guilty. So, like, what's the point?
Oh, it's just a farce. Okay, great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
a trial, quote unquote.
yeah. Punishments at the castle could include dismemberment, being dragged through the castle by a horse.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Sorry. Spit take. Choked a little bit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So you had
great.
dismemberment, being dragged through the castle by a horse. You could be pierced with a stake in the gallows. Good old fashioned whippings and beatings, and then just long periods of isolation in the prison cells, or I assume in the hole.
Like
Um,
seriously medieval shit. This one was
yeah,
from started they were originally the 1600s. What was it? Is this the old one you were talking about?
yeah. I don't know how when all this took place. That it said it was just a prison from 1899 to 1902.
Oh yeah, that's
So
way too late for this kind of crap to be going on, if that's the
yeah,
case.
yeah. I don't know if
Wow.
this was, but it did have like the prison cells in the dungeon from 1652, I think. So it could have been before then,
Yeah.
but the timeline was a little hard to piece together on some of this.
Right, but it's like
Um,
whatever they've been doing there, they've been doing it for a long
yeah.
time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, "Oh yeah, we just learned that. This is the way we've always done it here. We can't change."
Yeah. Um, so the last bit I have for the history of it is just that in 1936, the fort or fortress or castle, like grounds, was all declared a historical monument. So it's been a
Oh good.
monument for almost 100 years.
Okay,
Just like
okay.
yours
That's
was, I think you said.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's got I think I said it yeah, it was 100 years old when it got its
Mm-hmm.
National Historical Site,
Yeah.
whatever,
Oh,
and
okay.
that was the year I was born. So, yes, very similar.
Um,
That's
so
awesome.
getting in, obviously you can assume there's probably lots of ghosts, but there's some specific ones that are talked about most, I guess.
The
Um,
ghostess with the mostest.
yes. The first reported paranormal occurrences started in 1915. One source said, with the apparition of a tall gentleman that was seen on one of the castle's ramparts, part of the defense
Okay.
wall. And so he was witnessed in 1915, and then the same man was seen again in 1947, 32 years
1915
later.
and nine. Wow.
Yeah. Um, and in 1947, he was seen regularly over a 2 week period where people witnessed
Huh.
him jumping off the side of one of the castle walls and then disappearing just before he is supposed to hit the ground. Um,
Weird.
yeah, they've
Like,
also seen him just walking around the grounds in the wall area, kind of patrolling, maybe.
okay. It's like, why that
Yeah.
1 year? Even if it was the
Right?
anniversary of his death for
So
around
weird.
those 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, some of these are just little tiny ones like this one saying there's a man and woman that can be heard arguing near the guards room, And it said when
Oh.
people try and go to investigate like the arguing, they see and to go see them, they only see kind of like a shapeless figure where the people would be, I guess.
Oh, weird. I wonder if they're always saying
Yeah.
the same thing.
I don't know.
Like, what are they
Uh,
forever arguing about? That sounds like hell.
right? Yeah. There's also a Lady Anne Bernard, who is said to haunt the castle. And while alive in the 18th century, she was the first lady and was required
Okay.
to entertain the important guests that visited the castle. So they
Was it,
say to
sorry, Anne Bernard, did you say?
yeah, Lady Anne Bernard.
It just makes me think
Bernard.
of Andy Bernard. I want to be
Oh,
like, did she go to Stanford? What is it? What is
I don't
the
remember.
school he went to? Oh, The Office. Stanford? He's always like, ever heard of it? No, Cornell. He went to Cornell.
Oh, uh,
Lady Anne. Lady Andy Bernard. Okay, got it.
yeah, so she was the first lady. She was required to entertain important guests that visited the castle. And they say to
Oh.
this day she appears in the castle when it's being visited by really important people. So they say she shows up to like
Oh.
continue to fulfill her duties of entertaining the important guests that show up there.
Oh, she's continues to
Yeah.
be ambassador. She stayed on like
Yeah.
Sam the Bellman.
Yeah.
Ooh, cool.
Uh this one's the shortest. One source said that there was some sort of electrical bell that could be heard somewhere in the castle when no one was around. I don't know anything more about that.
Electric. Huh.
Yeah, I don't
Electrical
know.
bell. Okay. Weird.
Uh, this next one is pretty popular. They talk about this guy's ghost all the time. Involves the Governor General Pierre or Peter Gijsbert van Noot.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's a mouthful.
I think that's how you say his name. I didn't look up how to pronounce anything. Sorry.
I like
Uh,
Van Newt.
yeah, it's like I don't know how else to pronounce that. It's Noodt. Uh,
Oh, interesting.
yeah.
Sounds almost Dutch, Danish, something like.
I think
Okay.
so because the first name is like Peter, but it's Pieter. So like Peter.
Okay. And if the South Africa, I feel
Yeah,
like there is quite a bit of Dutch there.
I think so. Yeah. Uh,
Okay. Van Newt.
so he died on April 23rd, 1728.
Oh no.
And this day that he died, he had actually sentenced 7 soldiers to death after they were caught trying to desert the military. Uh,
And then he died?
yeah. It's
Oh.
believed that one of the soldiers he sentenced to death put a curse on him, and part of this curse was that he demanded that he come witness their executions. So when Peter failed to
Oh.
show up, he was found dead of a heart
Oh,
attack, one source
oh
said.
shit.
But he was found later that day slumped over his desk with a look of terror on his face. So
Damn.
yeah, they think the curse succeeded, and visitors to the castle say that they can hear him cursing and swearing. Uh, so
Good. What a
he sounds like it.
dick.
Yeah, he sounds like an angry dude. Um,
That's
in the
awesome.
seven, so the cool picture of the bell tower, I like in the 1700s. There's a soldier. This isn't so great. Was found hanging from the bell rope, inside of the bell
Mm.
tower, that overlooks the entrance to the castle. The
Oh,
bell
like the
tower,
rope that
yeah,
the bell hangs on.
yeah, he was found hanging from that. I think either that or like inside the bell. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So he was
Weird.
found hanging. The bell tower was constructed in 1684, and the original bell was sent from Amsterdam in 1697. And that bell in the bell
Oh,
tower actually is the original one, and it's still there today. Um, which I thought was pretty
Amsterdam.
cool.
There's those Dutch again.
Yeah.
Okay.
So after the soldier's death, the bell tower was sealed off. However, the bell has been heard ringing on its own. So it's completely sealed
Oh,
off. You can't access it in any way. Um, yeah, it's like bricked
damn.
out. Like you can't go up there. Uh,
Ooh,
yeah,
that
but they
gives
can
me
hear it
shiveries.
ringing. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like on top of that like walkway type of
Yeah.
area. You'd have to be able to specifically get up there somehow, unless you're Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'm sure they can get up there if we really need to from like a lift or like ladders or something. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
you can't just like open a door and get up there.
No.
There's visitors that report hearing voices and footsteps in the dungeon, as well as through the narrow corridors and hallways. Um, so that's creepy.
Oh yeah. Don't love the ghostly footsteps.
No. There's a ghost of a black dog that is known to pounce on unsuspecting visitors and then vanish into thin air.
Oh no, the
So
Grim.
that's yeah, the Grim.
Oops.
Totally. The cast. Oh, this is kind of like yours. Uh, the castle is also haunted by the Lady in Gray. It's always gray or white.
Oh.
Uh,
Classic.
so she's witnessed running through the castle, holding her face and then crying hysterically. This apparition has been seen since, or has not been seen actually, since they did some recent excavations on the property. I don't know if they were doing renovations or what they were doing the
Oh.
excavations for, but this apparition specifically hasn't been seen since there was a woman's body that was found during these excavations and like
Whoa.
removed. So they think this body might have been hers, and now it's been like released from like haunting the castle grounds.
Right. Yeah. That's what
Yeah,
it sounds like.
it's just
Also,
pretty crazy.
no, that's pretty crazy. And I was gonna make a joke about the gray lady from like the Hogwarts, but
Ooh,
and she also was murdered. Because I was like, it's not the gray lady. Then I was like, whoa,
yeah.
creepily murder person. Like, if that's so crazy when stories with have ghosts that they come back and we're like, ugh, this is how I was murdered. Can you please just
Yeah.
help with this? I don't have a body anymore. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Um, so how I said they are like keeping up with kind of the grounds and maintaining
Yeah.
it. Uh, the castle is now being used as the Castle Military Museum and ceremonial facilities for the traditional Cape regiments.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah.
Not like not super open to the public, doesn't sound like.
No. I think you might be able to do tours there, but I don't really think it's much. Uh,
Yeah.
because it didn't really talk about anything like that. But it did keep
Okay.
saying like visitors, so I don't know who these visitors are supposed to be. It might be like officials. Uh,
Yeah, special VIPs.
yeah. If you go to picture 11 though, it's kind of cool.
Oh.
So these officials that are in charge replaced a bunch of the colonial symbols and artifacts in that were inside the castle, uh, with different displays and statues of great leaders, including ones that had previously been imprisoned at the castle, or even executed there. And uh,
Oh, that's what
yeah.
those statues are.
So I think, from what I remember, I don't have their names, but 3 out of 4 of them were imprisoned at the castle. And they're different,
Wow.
like Zulu, like warriors and leaders and stuff in South Africa,
Oh, okay,
which
yeah,
is
they have
very cool.
very, yeah, very different garb. All of them are wearing very
Yeah,
different outfits. I almost thought it was like different time periods at first or something. Yeah.
yeah. So these
Cool.
warriors are from. They also have different cultures and symbols of South African history now that they're incorporating into the museum and then just like on the grounds. So they have these statues. They've also replaced a bunch. There was like a hallway of basically just, I'm gonna say, a shit ton of white people. They've like slowly replaced it with like a lot more South African like leaders and things like that. But they also did say that they've
Okay.
replaced it with a lot of uh like Dutch people and stuff as
Ooh,
well.
okay.
Yeah,
That
different like
sounds like a good
historical figures.
thing.
Yeah. Um so there's uh on the grounds, part of one of the rooms has been turned into a new center for memory healing and learning. Uh that was I don't really know what it's supposed to do. Didn't really say, but it said it was
Sounds like
sponsored,
something I need. Memory healing.
right? It's sponsored by the Military Veterans Department, and it rests between a torture chamber and the jail cells. Uh,
Well, that's appropriate.
right? And it's the last
Hmm.
picture. It basically looks like a fancy boardroom. There's a whole bunch of computers, desks. There's like the
Okay.
conference mics, and then there's like a bunch of TVs on like little kind of stand-up carts. Um
Yeah. Standard conference room. It's like,
yeah,
oh,
very
okay.
conference room in between your torture chamber and your jail cells. Uh it
I
said
mean,
that
it
they
is
hope.
cool when people. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
Um, I like when they repurpose old jails. It can be
Yeah.
neat, and um at where I used to live in Fredericton, my mom kind of did that. Well, she made a science center into where there was an old historical jail that wasn't used anymore. So
Yeah.
we yeah, made most of it into a science center, but then kept a few just little rooms where you're like, look, this is the old jail cell, and we like kept the bars and everything. And
Yeah.
I liked going in the little cells and being like, ooh, this is creepy.
Yeah, it
So yeah,
is.
it's so neat.
Uh yeah, they hope, just on their little blurb they have right up, they said that that they hope to use 21st century technology in this 17th century building to help tell the history of the area, both the good and the bad. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
because it's always there, good and the bad of
Yeah.
history. You can't wash it out. Then you don't learn
Yeah.
from it or whatever. Yeah. Damn.
My very last thing was just saying that even today, there's soldiers that have to guard the castle at night. So I assume it's pretty empty. The soldiers are guarding it at night. And all of
Oh.
these soldiers will avoid passing through the castle's archways. There's a bunch of archways. They say in fear of the restless souls that roam the castle. Um,
What?
yeah. So they won't even
Oh my
pass
god.
through like the castle's archways at night when they're guarding it, like when nobody else is there.
Yeah. And these are presumably, yeah, pretty brave people. They're security
Yeah, they're
guards too. I thought.
soldiers.
Yeah. Okay, they are soldiers too. Okay, great. Because
Yeah.
it was reminding me of, I was like, I ended with a night guard, security guard story. And then you
Oh
ended with
yeah.
like people at night being like, nope, this is, I'm guarding this, but this part is too creepy. It's so,
Yeah.
yeah, it was so similar.
Mhm.
uh
Yeah, I don't know if it's
I like it.
open to the public really at all. Um,
Hmm.
it doesn't really seem like it is, but yeah.
That's okay. We got lots of places on our itinerary already for haunted tours.
Yeah.
The wish list.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
dream road trip where we do live shows all across America.
Oh my God.
North America. Because
Somebody
everybody
else,
else, what? I was gonna
I
say
was
they
gonna
never
say,
come to Canada, the concerts.
oh, I was gonna say somebody else has to foot the bill for that. I don't want to pay. That's too expensive.
No, I know. We're not at that level yet. But as of today, we hit a milestone of, some thousands that we were hoping to get to.
Yes, I was watching that when I
Mm.
looked at it this morning. I was like, ooh, only 7 more plays to go.
Yeah. We don't want to
Yeah,
give you guys the impression that we have 7 million followers because we don't. We're happy to hit our little, we get 5,000, 10,000. Like,
yeah,
we are just happy to hit our little milestones as the little podcast that we are.
yes. It's very
And it's all
cool.
thanks to you. Yeah.
Yes. Everybody who comes and listens, whether you're a repeat or just a one time, appreciate every
Oh,
listen.
oh, totally. My kid was jokingly telling my mom how, yeah, she talks about spooky things on her podcast, and I was like, "Pfft, I'm telling her, oh, she knows, she listens. Don't you tell
Yeah,
her what it's about.
she
I'll give
knows
you
better
shit.
than you.
Yeah, yeah. She's a little behind. She's on Ukrainian folklore, so she's got a few episodes to go to catch up, but
That's not
we
good.
don't care how you listen, as long as you listen.
You better listen, Alana says.
She was gonna put us on in the car on the way to Jasper, and I was like, oh, I can't listen to myself again. Editing the episodes once is enough.
Right?
I put the
Yeah.
kibosh on that.
Oh.
Oh well. But next time we're back for some, in honor of the, Day of the Dead, we're gonna do some Dias de los Muertos slash Mexico crimes. At least that's what I have it written down as.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
We haven't done much with Mexico, so be
no.
fun.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh.
Let's see what you got, Mexico. Everybody's got crazy stories.
Yes. Yeah. Every country does. There's always bucket load of crazy.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of which, the next crazy one that we are going to record is going to be the Patreon, which is
Yeah.
catfish crimes. And those can get real crazy. So I'm excited for that one.
Extremely crazy. Yeah.
And people, they don't always involve murder, although sometimes they do. So we'll see.
Yeah. I'm trying not to say much about mine because I know you don't know it, and it's
I
like,
really don't think I do, so I'm
yeah.
excited.
Oh, I'm
I
so
love a good
excited. It's like
crazy catfish.
fucking
Yeah.
just absolutely bonkers.
People can be anybody on the internet. It's
Ain't
true.
that the
You just
truth?
don't know.
Oh, yep.
All right, well, stay cryptic, but not so cryptic that you catfish people into thinking you're not who
Yes.
you really are.
Don't do that.
No,
It's not cool. We may joke about
no.
it and be like, "Oh, it's like so interesting, whatever," but it's not a nice thing to do to people. So,
No, not the same as when chat rooms first came out and people were like, yeah, yeah, we pretended to be someone else when the internet was a baby. It's like, no, now people are very intelligent and crazy, and
yeah.
a lot of bad things can happen when they have access to the internet.
Yeah, scary things.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we'll hope to see you there on Patreon. Patreon.com
yes.
slash castles and cryptids. Catfish
Yeah.
crimes. All right, until next time.
Thanks for listening. Bye bye.
Bye.
This has been Castles and Cryptids. You can listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Anchor, Breaker, Pocket Cast, and our YouTube channel. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Reddit. On our website, you can listen to all of our episodes as well as view pictures for each of our segments. Check out our Patreon page to view all of our tiers and become a Patreon supporter today to unlock monthly bonus episodes and behind-the-scenes content. We are working on an Ask Us Anything. You can submit questions by social media or by email at castlesandcryptids@gmail.com. Do you have a spooky ghost story, a creepy cryptid sighting, or a thrilling true crime tale you would like to share and have us include in a future episode? Send us your listener story by social media or by email. Please include the name that you would like mentioned. Our music is by Kobe Fair. Our logo and artwork is by Antonio Garcia. Thanks for listening.